Welcome, boys and girls, to another of Cosette's Enchanted Journeys. I am Jenny, the storytelling genie, here with my sweet and crafty friend, Cosette, the kitty cat. And before us, we have a haunted house that we're building. What do you think? There's even some monsters outside, but don't worry, they're very friendly monsters. They're very fun to be around, not spooky and scary at all. Why are we building a monster house inside the magic lamp, Cosette? Do you think we should share with the boys and girls what we're up to? I think so. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right to it, because today we have two monstery stories for you. You ready to go? Let's rub our hands together, say the magic words, I wish to go on an enchanted journey, and away we go! Welcome, boys and girls, to another of Cosette's Enchanted Journeys story times. And we are getting close to the spooky season, one of my favorite times of year. I love Halloween. Do you enjoy Halloween? I think it's a lot of fun to dress up in costume, and I certainly love to eat candy and bob for apples and watch spooky movies. And I really like the spooky music too. It's a lot of fun to play dress up and make believe. And for a special treat for you today, I have two stories, and they kind of go nicely together, so I thought you might enjoy them as much as I do. One is called How to Build a Haunted House, and the other one is This is the House That the Monsters Built. So I thought we would start with, first of all, how do we build a haunted house? And then we'll see what we come up with. All right, you ready? Let's read it together. Ghost town wakes from daylight snores, the full moon glows, a chainsaw roars. A new family is coming to town. They gotta move in with the sun still down. With no place to go, they're down on their luck. So get your tools and grab your truck. Past the graveyard, hear the howl of werewolf loggers on the prowl. Oh! Bumps and ruts begin to fade. Invisible man clears the grade. Then, over the hill, a handy rig. Frankenstein's here to dig. Earth and gravel fill the lot. Cyclops needed, hit the spot. The witch's dumper is piled high, a flick of their wands, and it's time to fly. Shadows cast, engines run, they're working hard to beat the sun. The site is cleared, now let's pour. Bride's concrete lays the floor. Foundation smooth, call the crew. Ready to hammer, nail, and screw. Frames up, it's a brand new house. They're almost done, but eek, a mouse. Hammer falls, nails splash, bones crunch, toes smash. Sirens wail, the monsters clap. Mummy's here, and that's a wrap. But the job's not done. What to do? The sun is climbing into view. Gotta move, let's get this done. What do you say? We have some fun. Lightning strikes, power is on. The house is bright, but it's nearly dawn. Hammers pound, nails sink, windows finished in a blink. So much to do, so little time. Call in a favor, ring the chime. Magic needed to beat the day. Broomstick service on its way. Spellbooks open, wands raised high. Hocus pocus fills the sky. Smoke settles, monsters stare. It's alive with time to spare. Dark and safe, the house is spacious. The vampire family is very gracious. Complete with dungeon and trapdoors too. The scariest placed with the spookiest view. The monsters grin, filled with pride. The job got done and no one died. Big trucks rumble off the site. And sleepy monsters say good night. The end. Did you enjoy this story about building a haunted house for a vampire family? All right, well, let's read the second one. This is the house that the monsters built. This is the spooky house that the monsters built. This is the mummy who raised the wall inside the house that monsters built. This is the spider who started to crawl that shocked the mummy who raised the wall inside the house that monsters built. This is the werewolf who put in a door that stopped the spider who started to crawl that shocked the mummy who raised the wall inside the house the monsters built. This is the skeleton who nailed down the floor that upset the werewolf who put in a door that stopped the spider who started to crawl that shocked the mummy who raised the wall inside the house the monsters built. This is Frankie who brought in a chair that rattled the skeleton who nailed down the floor that upset the werewolf who put in a door that stopped the spider who started to crawl, that shocked the mummy who raised the wall inside the house that monsters built. This is the black cat who jumped in the air, that terrified Frankie who brought in a chair, that rattled the skeleton who nailed down the floor, that upset the werewolf who put in a door, that stopped the spider who started to crawl, that shocked the mummy who raised the wall inside the house that monsters built. These are the bats who hung from a beam, that scared the black cat who jumped in the air, that terrified Frankie who brought in a chair, that rattled the skeleton who nailed down the floor, that upset the werewolf who put in a door, that stopped the spider who started to crawl, that shocked the mummy who raised the wall inside the house that monsters built. This is the zombie who let out a scream, that scattered the bats who hung from a beam, that scared the black cat who jumped in the air, that terrified Frankie who brought in a chair, that rattled the skeleton who nailed down the floor, that upset the werewolf who put in the door, that stopped the spider who started to crawl, that shocked the mummy who raised the wall inside the house that monsters built. This is the ghost who shouted out, "Boo!" that startled the zombie who let out a scream, that scattered the bats who hung from a beam, that scared the black cat who jumped in the air, that terrified Frankie who brought in a chair, that rattled the skeleton who nailed down the floor, that upset the werewolf who put in a door, that stopped the spider who started to crawl, that shocked the mummy who raised the wall inside the house that monsters built. This is the old witch who stirred up the brew, that spooked the ghost who shouted out, "Boo!" that startled the zombie who let out a scream, that scattered the bats who hung from a beam, that scared the black cat who jumped in the air, that terrified Frankie who brought in a chair, that rattled the skeleton who nailed down the floor, that upset the werewolf who put in a door, that stopped the spider who started to crawl, that shocked the mummy who raised the wall inside the house that monsters built. This is the vampire who tripped on his feet, that stunned the old witch who stirred up the brew, that spooked the ghost who shouted out boo, that startled the zombie who let out a scream, that scattered the bats who hung from a beam, that scared the black cat who jumped in the air, that terrified Frankie who brought in a chair, that rattled the skeleton who nailed down the floor, that upset the werewolf who put in a door, that stopped the spider who started to crawl, that shocked the mummy who raised the wall inside the house that monsters built. These are the kids who yelled, "Trick or treat!" that woke up the vampire who tripped on his feet, that stunned the old witch who stirred up the brew, that spooked the ghost who shouted out, "Boo!" that startled the zombie who let out a scream, that scattered the bats who hung from a beam, that scared the black cat who jumped in the air, "Meow!" that terrified Frankie who brought in a chair, that rattled the skeleton who nailed down the floor, that upset the werewolf who put in a door, that stopped the spider who started to crawl, that shocked the mummy who raised the wall here at the house that the monsters built. The end. Did you like this cause and effect story? And how about how to build a haunted house? I have a special activity planned for us today based on a haunted house. How would you like to learn how to make your very own haunted house pop-up card with me? It's actually a lot easier than it sounds, or at least it sounded hard to me, and I found it was a lot of fun and not too hard to do. And you only need a few materials. You want to go and try it with me now? Okay, let's go.
For today, boys and girls, we are going to be making our very own haunted house pop-up card. What you're going to need for this is a sheet of paper. If you have a cardstock paper or a thick construction paper, that will work best because it'll be a little bit firmer, it'll be easier to fold, and since it's a bit more rigid, it will stand up better when you open up the pop-up card. So this first step, you can see I am folding my paper in half and pushing really good on the crease to make sure it's nice and sharp. And now I am using a ruler just to mark 2 equal edges on the inside of my paper that I'm going to start drawing my house from. You'll see that I am marking it on the folded side of the paper because that's where we're going to be making our cut. So again, I'm just drawing some lines to make a house shape, as you can see, and I left room at the top for a roof. And now I'm going to cut along those lines. Now that it's cut out, I am folding the paper over and making nice sharp creases so that my pop-up card will stand up nice and tall. You're going to want to fold the paper in both directions, again, to make a nice sharp crease. Once that's done, you can open up your card and bend it in, as you can see I'm doing here. I've opened up my card and I've bent it in to make the bottom of the house and the top of the house, as you can see here. This is an example of how it's going to look. Now I'm bending it down forward, and I'm going to be adding my roof and my door. So you'll see I'm marking the top layer of the card, and I'm only going to cut that first sheet, not all the way through. And as I cut this, you're going to be able to see this makes a nice roof. I'm bending it in both directions, and then I'm going to open it up, and you'll be able to see here in a moment that I now have a house with a chimney or rooftop. And now I'm opening it back. Sorry, I'm not opening it, I'm folding it back down, and I'm drawing where the door will go. So I folded my card in, I'm drawing some lines to make a door, and then I'm going to trim those as well. If you get confused with any of these steps, you can certainly find instructions for this on places like YouTube, and you can re-watch this. But what you want to do is just pay attention to where your folds are so that the card pops open, and just cut one layer at a time and keep it easy and simple, and just keep checking your work. There, now you can see a door, a house, and a chimney. And that was the hardest part of the card right there. Everything else becomes pretty simple. I am going to just go ahead and draw a nighttime scene up near my roof line of the house. I've got a bat and a moon, maybe a tree. In the house itself, I'm going to give it some shingles, some windows, and some other house features. Once you've completed a drawing that you're happy with, you are then going to take a permanent marker and outline anything that you really want to stand out. You can use a ruler if you'd like to make other details on your house. I'm using it just to keep some straight lines and try to make my windows even on each side of my front of the house. And you can see I've drawn a door at the bottom with some shingles to match the roof line. And what I would suggest to you is to frequently pop up your card like it will look when it's open, so that you can check to make sure everything is where you like it. And again, just use your imagination and creativity to draw any sort of spooky scene around your haunted house that you like. When you are all finished drawing and outlining with a permanent marker, just have a great time coloring. Use crayons, colored pencil, other markers, anything you like to shade in your house and give it a creepy haunted house feel. If you don't feel like making a haunted house, you can make any sort of pop-up card house that you'd like. for the final step, you're going to take a piece of construction paper or another piece of cardstock, fold it in half the same way you did with your original piece of paper. This is going to become your background to your card. So you'll see what I'm doing here is I'm folding my card down. I want to make sure it pops up correctly, so you're going to have pieces that stick out, and that's okay. And then I'm just using a glue stick to glue the parts that are not going to be seen to the inside of my construction paper. I've used purple because I did a lot of green grass and green features on my haunted house, and purple and green are great Halloween colors that go nicely together. You can use any background color you like, whatever you think enhances your house, or if you want it to blend in. Black works really nice because it's dark and spooky, like the house has no lights on. And you'll see what I mean here in a minute after I've glued this down. As you can see, I've just added the glue and I'm folding carefully on one side, and then I'm going to flip it over and open it up and glue on the inside of the other and press down. Once you have finished gluing your haunted house and pressed down firmly, that's it. You're done. You can pop it open and see your very own haunted house pop-up card. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and I hope you will continue to use your imagination and creativity to have fun and make projects like this again in the future. But we're out of time for today. Are you ready to head back to the magic lamp and say goodbye to Cosette? Me too. Okay, let's go.
And welcome back to the Magic Lamp, boys and girls. Did you enjoy the two stories about the haunted houses and the monsters that built those houses and lived in those houses and enjoyed those houses? I sure did. I really liked it because I didn't think they were very scary. I thought they were very silly and a lot of fun. Do you think monsters are scary? Sometimes they can be, can't they? But a lot of the times, they're just kind of silly, funny little creatures, aren't they? Like my couple of monsters that I have here at our haunted house. I sure enjoyed building this with you today, Cosette. I hope you boys and girls enjoyed building your own Monster House pop-up card. That's something you can do again and again, and you can make different types of pop-up cards. You can always look online or ask an adult to help you to come up with different ideas and things that you can create, but I hope that you were able to follow along and make the haunted house card with Cosette and I again today, and we hope you'll come back to visit us in our magic lamp again soon. Until you do, take great care of yourselves, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.